Hello there, everybody. Welcome to HG Movie Talk. I am Fluffy Duffy, joined here today by my co-host, Dean's Beans. Say hello, Dean's Beans.
Hello, Dean's Beans. I think I've
Wonderful.
told that joke before.
Maybe. I think you could. I think you're really funny.
We've actually been doing this for a while now, like a considerable amount of time.
Anyways, Dean, what are we talking about today?
Today, in week 20 of this podcast, week 20.
Wow, that's like almost half of a year.
Yeah. And that I did say I was going to quit at 20 weeks, and I stick by that. Today,
This is a good movie. This is a good episode.
leave on a high.
Yeah.
Today, being the silver lining, where we talk about a bad movie and we talk about the good and we talk about the bad, and then we try and improve it. And today we're talking about X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Before we get into actually reviewing this movie, did you see this movie in theaters?
I don't know. I didn't.
I remember when I was like,
you remember me not seeing it in theaters?
Yeah, I remember just watching you and being like, Dean,
why aren't you going?
No, I saw this in theaters. I think I was like 8.
Yeah, I don't
Something
know
like
when
that,
it
6.
came out. 2009. It came out.
Do you know that to be true?
I'm pretty sure it's 2009. I'll double check if you want.
Yeah, it's 2009.
Nice.
I remember seeing this movie and then going to Target and then seeing the Xbox game for it.
Oh yeah.
And really wanting it, but I didn't have an Xbox at the time, so I couldn't have it. The game is actually supposed to be really good. The Xbox game. But I liked this movie when it came out. Keep in mind, I was 7, so my critiquing skills weren't yet fully developed. But on rewatch, this movie is anything but.
Yeah, I don't like it, and I never have.
Well, did you watch it when you were 7?
I would have watched it when I was quite young, like in a pre-Avengers world.
Mm-hmm.
I would have watched this movie. I don't know exactly on the timeline when. I just remember I had the box set of, at the time, all the X-Men movies, and that was all of them up to First Class.
Oh wow.
And I watched all of them, and I think this might have been the only one I didn't like at the time. But then the only other bad one, really, I think now is X-Men 3.
So, Dean, would you like a synopsis about this movie?
Yeah, I would love a synopsis. Just synop this place up on X-Men.
Oh, dude, I'm going to synop it all the way up right now. So this movie is basically the origin movie for Wolverine, and we follow Logan, or James Howlett, as he starts off with bone claws, fighting wars, and then we follow him as he gets the Weapon X treatment because Saber-Tooth killed his girlfriend. And it's a story of revenge, explosions, and terrible dialogue. I think it's a pretty good.
Yeah.
It's basically all you need to know.
I loved it. Okay, sorry, I was too busy reading fun facts just to, make sure I got the date right on this. But talking about fun facts, so in this movie, there's a flashback to Africa, and in this Storm appears. So Cyclops isn't the only young X-Men to appear in this.
Wait, Storm appears?
Yeah, in a flashback to Africa, a young black girl with white hair can be seen.
Really? And then they have like there's like a lightning strike or whatever there too, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And also interestingly, if you're wondering why this movie has a weird title, because I thought that X-Men Origins Wolverine, it's because this was planned to be a series. Mm-hmm. And the next one was going to be X-Men Origins Magneto, and showing him like in the Holocaust and then just after. And they cancelled that because this movie did terribly. But I wish they still did it, because I would have loved to see that movie.
I remember getting really hyped for an X-Men Origins like series when this movie came out.
Yeah. Imagine X-Men Origins Magneto. That would have been so good.
We kind of got that.
Yeah, kind of. You can make a TikTok about that. What they're called? Is it unreleased?
Oh, it could make. Yeah, I could do one.
I don't know. I don't know how much information there is about this movie, so have a look.
You'd be surprised.
And also interestingly, on March 31st, 2009, a bootleg copy of this movie was released online with unfinished visual effects and stuff like that. And a different font for the credits apparently is another notable difference. And they tried to get it offline, but by the time the movie was released in theaters, it had been downloaded 4.5 million times.
Wow.
So that also part of the reason X-Men Origins Magneto was cancelled is because this movie didn't make a lot of money.
Because people already saw it.
Because people had already seen it and thought, oh, this isn't very good. So obviously we've got Gambit, Cyclops, and Emma Frost in the prison. Mm-hmm. But people think Quicksilver might be there because there's a white hair boy who is violently thrashing in a cage. There's Banshee, someone with tape over their mouth. Toad, a boy with an I can never say that word, amphibious tongue. Psylocke, an East Asian girl with blue and purple streaks in her hair. Whirlwind, a young man spinning as a tornado in his cage. And Dust, a South Asian girl seen frozen in her cage. And also, Deadpool was there, I think.
Kind of. I know a fun fact about the Deadpool bit. So Ryan Reynolds had been trying to make a Deadpool movie for years.
Since 2004.
Yeah, and this was kind of his way of getting Deadpool in. But it was like studio meddling.
So that seems to be a theme in Silver Lining, I think.
Yeah.
Remember 3 weeks ago?
What did we talk about? What was our last one?
Spider-Man 3.
Better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
He's not here. I don't have a strong opinion on the matter. We'll talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2 maybe in a week or...
Yeah, we'll talk about that eventually, unfortunately. Yeah. Anyways,
do you prefer Amazing Spider-Man 2 or X-Men Origins Wolverine?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Really?
Because I have nostalgia for this.
Okay. The other question which we ask every week in the Silver Lining is this movie better or worse than Holmes and Watson?
This is better than Holmes and Watson.
This is better. Wait, one day we might get to that podcast.
If we ever talk about like cats.
Yeah. Okay. Do we start with the good or do we start with the bad?
I think we start with the good.
That's another question that gets asked every week.
Yeah. Good. Definitely the first thing good. This movie starts off strong, ignoring the whole child Logan bit.
Yeah.
With that opening credit scene.
Yeah. 100%. The him going through. So is it the American Civil War, and then
it's the Civil War. You don't have to put that.
It's called the American Civil War. And then it's World War One. That's world at the start. World War Two, and then Vietnam, and then
now
searching for 1979 or whenever this movie's set.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's a great opening. There's some really cool shots and just lots of Hugh Jackman shouting. I really enjoyed it.
Which you gotta love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like probably like good. And like Hugh Jackman is also a good thing I have on this. Like, I mean, Hugh Jackman, you give him bad dialogue, you give him bad anything, he's still gonna be badass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, the thing is, I'm not sure what it is about this movie, but I think this might be the movie that I struggled the most to write down good things. And I'm not saying this is the worst movie we've talked about, but I struggled to write down good things.
There's not a lot of good things, and there's a lot of mediocre things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff which you just kind of glazes over you, and then a lot of stuff which angers you. Something I put as good, if we're jumping forward in the movie bit, is there's some solid action in this movie, specifically the bit when he's on the motorbike and he does the turn and jumps on the helicopter. I've always thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but then it's ruined by we'll talk about that later. There's some good action. There's some not good action.
Yeah. What do you think of the Deadpool entering the hall at the start with the...
I think it's cool. But I want to keep seeing you do this. Can you make some
Still doing the hand
sound
action
effects?
of deflecting the bullets for everyone at home.
I
I could
don't.
do it.
Oh yeah, I get to easily do that. It's like with like a little bit of training, easily. Anyways, um, it's cool, but it's ruined by what it's to come. Like I can't enjoy it because I'm like, it was promising. Like Deadpool, Wade Wilson before the
Yeah.
whole Weapon
There's some
11.
good quips in there. Good
Um,
quips in there. Maybe they come too thick and fast in the elevator, I think.
yeah.
But it's good quips. I like this whole opening, I think, until it's the bit when
Well, there's some parts of the opening I don't like.
yeah. We keep everything we bring up, but like we'll talk about that later. Something I put down which I think I like all of is Saber-Tooth versus Cyclops. In the
Sabretooth versus Cyclops. I noticed something when I was watching this, and it needs to be said because there's few of this.
Okay.
But the Sabretooth versus Cyclops is awesome. And there was this one CGI bit where Sabretooth kind of like climbs across the walls.
When he does a silly little run.
Yeah. That looked really convincing.
If you listen to this podcast, especially the Twilight episode, you know I'm a fan of a silly little run. And this looks good, but I still would class it as a silly little run.
It is. I personally think it's kind of badass.
No, it does look cool, but it also just it's a
little silly.
It's if just imagine if like he wasn't chasing someone to his death and he was just like, oh no, I'm about to miss the bus. Silly little run. I should do a TikTok ranking of here's part 1 of ranking all the silly little runs in movies.
You should, honestly. That would be
Edward
awesome.
Cullen would win.
Yeah.
I can't think of more than 2. Who else does silly little runs?
Oh well, we got to think about this. It's a whole other list.
I will be thinking about this. Just if you look over and I'm glazed over, I'm thinking about silly little runs.
That one's really cool, and it's the only good CGI effect in the entire movie practically.
There's some good explosions.
I just have Sabretooth I have Sabretooth kinda in my good category because I liked some bits of Sabretooth.
Well, let's just agree to disagree. I don't
remember. Yeah. Hold on. Don't you think the jacket's kind of sick?
Yeah, the jacket's cool.
But the look of him is pretty cool.
Better. The one That's Logan true. Gets. And speaking of that jacket, for some reason in my notes, I've written, this is so bad, and it will take explaining, old couple dead.
You have that in the good?
I think it's done well. I really liked
it is.
What actually happened was, so the old couple were being really sweet, and I was like, oh, these are good people. I like this bit of the movie. So I wrote down old couple because I liked that little sequence of him hanging out in the house and breaking the sink and stuff.
Well, oh my God. Anyway, continue.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. I know what you're about to say. And then they go, and then I thought, when I saw the motorbike in my mind, for some reason, I thought that he stole the motorbike and like left the family there. And like, that's how this movie went. And then she got shot. And then I was like, oh, I can't really write old couple in my notes. So I just added the word dead on the end. Because at this point, this was my third good thing I'd written down. And I was so desperate for something.
You can't delete it now.
I still like the old couple though.
They were sweet.
And I think
Logan did it better.
Done well.
Logan did it better.
That's true. Logan did. I didn't even think of that. I think their deaths were done well though.
Yeah.
When she's just chilling out, just the bloodless death.
Oh my God, that's a whole other thing out this.
What age rating is this? A 12?
PG-13.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh well. Yeah, I don't know what it is for you.
PG-13 is the same thing. I don't have anything else good to say about this movie.
I got a couple of things. 2, to be precise.
Okay, that is a couple.
Gambit.
I didn't put him in either list, to be fair.
But like that one scene where like he has like the cards and he goes like shoots them. That's kind of cool, right? That's badass.
That's pretty cool.
And another thing, the score. I like the score.
I didn't notice it, to be honest. So it must be doing a pretty good job.
If you listen to it, you're like, that sounds like
Wolverine.
No,
there's some cool bits with the guitar as well.
Yeah.
And I remember liking it in the opening where they like switch between the different eras.
Yeah, this score is good. It's better than like half the MCU movies, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Okay. On to the bad.
On to the bad.
So my first bad directly just what's the word? My first bad directly contrasts my first good, and that's that it skips over the most interesting part of the movie.
Yes, that is easily the most interesting part of the movie. 100%.
And it's like, and now I'm saying this out loud, I'm realizing it's the exact same as Suicide Squad, where they have some really. That's exactly what I said about the Suicide Squad, where they not the Suicide Squad. I said about Suicide Squad, where they skipped over the most interesting bit at the start just through like a fancy montage, and I was like, I want to see this. Why? Like, how cool would it like a period piece Wolverine movie be?
It would be so cool.
The one I always say I'd love to see him in the Wild West.
That would be really
cool. Just do
cool.
Logan, but in the Wild West, and he's just like on a horse, and he's like, "Hey, I'm not here," and then just do an old West movie and just put Wolverine in it.
One thing that I have for the bad takes place before that opening scene.
Oh.
And that's the whole child Logan thing.
Oh, and he goes, he's not your dad, son.
And then how the little kid does that like extremely corny, like looks up at the camera and goes, no.
Yeah. It's like Darth Vader finding out Padme's dead.
Yeah, it's just stupid. It's just super, super stupid. It takes you out of the movie.
That's true. And then I don't like the kid Saber-Tooth bit when he's all like, I'm your brother. We've got to stick together and go through these wars together.
Jimmy.
Oh, I hated it. I honestly wrote down the word Jimmy in my bad just because I didn't like it whenever someone called Logan Jimmy. I'm like, I'm fine with James, but I draw the line at Jimmy.
Well, I feel like Sabretooth says it okay.
Yeah. It worked well for the young kid, but he was saying it's like Hugh Jackman in fights. So I was like, nah, not a big fan.
Also, Sabretooth's nails at times look really unsettling. But that says the point. Next, I think this is a umbrella term, but it becomes an issue very, very early on in the movie. That's the CGI.
Yes.
The first issue I have with this is the wire work that they do in some of this.
Because he likes to do big jumps.
Yeah, it just looks terrible. It just looks terrible.
The big issue is the claws, I think. I don't know why they felt the need to do it like that.
I don't know either.
Surely it would have... I don't know anything about CGI, but I feel like it would have cost them more money to, do CGI claws instead of just,
Well, at times you need to do CGI claws, but, do you ever watch The Corridor Crew?
Yeah.
Looking at it, because I've seen this movie a handful of times, so I don't really need to pay much attention to what's exactly going on. In the bathroom scene, when you look at Wolverine's claws, when you look at his hands, because it's CGI, they're literally wibble wobbling between his knuckles because they're just
when he moves his hand.
Yeah, because they're just doing it by frame, and there's no shadows. There's nothing to make it show that it's these are real. It looks absurdly terrible.
Yeah, honestly, I don't get why they didn't just stick with the real claws a lot of the time.
I don't know. I mean, there are times where the claws do look good.
Yeah, but it's just because even in Logan, which came out 2018, 2017, there's the only I'm pretty sure in that movie the only times the claws are fake are when they're actually growing and retracting. And the rest of the time, it's him holding the thing in his hand. So they did it literally for Logan because they probably went, oh, literally, we just need to get these 3 bits of metal or whatever. It's cheap. Why don't we just do it like that?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I've got this. This was also a note written before I remembered the twist of the movie. And it's 3 words and it's random generic wife.
They fridged her, essentially.
They did. And then later down on my list, I have put in 3 words again, and that's fake dead wife. It was just, honestly, she before the twist happened, she was just the most stereotypical movie wife in the world. They're like, oh, this guy is really badass. We need to give him a beautiful, just kind, sweethearted girlfriend. Oh, what job should she have? Let's make her a teacher. Like, can you get any more generic than that?
Literally, when I saw this movie for the first time, I remember this specifically because I had asked my dad for help, but I did not recognize who that lady was at the twist. Like, I was like, why is this? I don't understand because it's so forgettable. Is that black currant juice?
Squash, yes.
Is there black currant in it?
Yes.
I don't know how this works.
I've got
squash is a vegetable.
Look. I've got this here. So this is the squash. Yes. You compare the color. This is a lot darker than this. Yes.
So black currant is not black?
No, it's this color.
So that's black currant.
Yeah. So you pour this into here and then you fill the rest of this with water and then you get like a little bit.
Oh.
You pour like that much in and then you fill the rest with water and then you get blackcurrant squash.
Huh.
There was a girl an American girl on TikTok who ordered a bunch of like English sweets and stuff, and something she ordered was squash. And because you're supposed to dilute this like 120 parts in water, she didn't know that. She got it and she drank it and she went, "This is really strong, but it's quite nice if you have a little bit." And then everyone had to be like, "No, you mix it with water."
Well, to be fair, us Americans, we don't really dilute things.
Very true. I thought, yeah, we've definitely got better like chocolate than you, so we're winning that from.
What are you talking about? No, you don't.
Have you never had? Oh, you've never left the country. You don't actually know the truth, do you? It's a well accepted fact that America has not very well made chocolate.
Well, good thing I don't really even like chocolate that much.
Neither do I, to be honest. Anyway, what were we talking about? What were you talking about?
The CGI. Oh my God, Professor Xavier.
Oh, his dumb, stupid face.
His dumb, stupid face. That was not good at all. Terrible. But did you pay attention to the clip of them walking to the jet?
No.
Do you have X-Men Origins on standby?
I can probably bring this scene up.
You need to bring this scene up and look at it because I cannot talk about it without you understanding how bad it is.
Okay.
I want you to specifically pay attention to the people running to the jet. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about Dunkin' iced coffee. Just kidding, don't want that.
Oh, nice. I
want some though. No, I don't. I need new shoes.
Wow, I'm just going to edit this all out so nobody cares.
Yeah, you probably are.
Sorry. Found. Here. The people. Oh. Harlan, go on, explain to everyone what I just watched.
So you just watched the Escape Mutants running to Professor Xavier. However, they literally didn't even put the shadows of the people walking. It looks like they just filmed the people walking in place behind them.
Yeah. They're like, what? It's like a treadmill.
It's terrible. Like, how did they get away with that?
That's dodgy. That's weird. Okay. I didn't enjoy that.
I needed you to know that.
No, that's fair enough. Okay. What have I got next on my bad? I've got, this is a very specific moment, but when Wolverine is on the building, on like the lumber site or whatever he does as his job with random generic wife, when he meets Stryker and whoever the guy who does all the shooting is. I just think it made me laugh out loud when Logan turns around and goes, "Are you still shooting first, asking questions later?" And then this guy just pulls out his gun. There's a very quick cut to him pulling out his gun. And then like it cuts back and he shoots the gun and he shoots the cigar out of Wolverine's mouth. And it made me laugh.
Like laugh at how bad it was? Or
Yeah. I was like, that's so stupid. It was more the like speaking of the action, I do have this as an issue with a lot of the action. There's a lot of like quick cuts and like speeding up and slowing down footage.
You can't tell what's going on.
Like there's just a shot like him.
What I don't understand is they had to make a pretty conscious effort to be like, okay, in the comics, it's tradition that the Weapon X thing is like standing up.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna have him laying down. Like so many things in this, like
I think that's just because they wanted the dramatic standing up and screaming of him going in slow motion.
So going to that, Stryker's plan doesn't make sense, and here's why.
Okay, go on. Just explain to me his plan.
So his plan.
Actually, I'll explain it, and then you pick holes in it if you've got the
complete. Okay, yeah, go for it.
So Stryker really wanted to test, like, to figure out how to make the perfect soldier and everything. And his supposed missing ingredient is someone with a healing factor like Wolverine or whatever. So he gets all this adamantium, and he's like, okay, I need to get this into Wolverine's skeleton. How can I trick him into doing this? Oh, I'll know. First thing, I will send Sabretooth to go and kill the guy who controls electricity. You know, just for fun, just kill that guy. And then I'll go and talk to Wolverine and be like, hey, one of these guys trying to kill all of us. And then the same afternoon, I'll inject his wife, who I placed there many years ago for monitoring him for a different reason. And I'm going to inject her with something which makes it seems like she's dead. And then when Wolverine thinks that she's dead, then he's going to come and talk to me. And I'll be like, yeah, you want to kill Saber-Tooth because he did this. Oh, no. Saber-Tooth then goes and beats up Wolverine and nearly kills him. And then Stryker goes and talks to Wolverine. And he's all like, hey, this is so complicated. And he's like, hey, if you want to kill Saber-Tooth, I can make you more powerful. And Wolverine's like, yeah, sure. So then they put
not unpowerful.
Oh.
Unkillable.
Indestructible, yeah.
Yeah.
So they make like the guy who wants to kill him, who said, "Oh, I'm going to kill you afterwards," or whatever Wolverine said. He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll make this guy indestructible." So he puts him in, makes him indestructible, and he goes, "Now let's wipe his memories." And so he says this quite loudly, and Wolverine hears this, and he stands up and he does a big dramatic roar, and he runs away. And then Stryker's like, "Oh, that's a shame. We'll try and kill him with just normal things, even though we know it won't work." But now it doesn't even matter because I can make the perfect super soldier. Let's sew his mouth shut. I've made the perfect super soldier. But he was killed quite easily anyway.
So here's the issue.
It was so complicated.
This huge, complex plan.
Yeah.
And really, what their plan is we're going to make this person indestructible. And then we're going to destroy him.
Yeah, that
true. That was their plan.
I think their plan was to wipe his memory, but that didn't work or whatever.
How's it going to work? They're going to get a DNA sample too? It wasn't... Yeah. It was impossible. His plan was so stupid. It was so dumb.
To be fair, that plan, in this movie's defense, I don't know why I'm doing this, makes about as much sense as like Baron Zemo's plan or something like that. Because
that's true.
Because that's an extremely convoluted plan as well.
The only fault there is that what they wanted to do was compromise the uncompromisable man.
Yeah.
That's
especially when Wolverine's like, hey, once you do this to me and I kill Sabretooth, I'm probably going to come back here and kill you. And Stryker's like, yeah, that's cool. I'll just make you indestructible anyway. And then the whole thing's falling apart. And he's like, oh, this isn't going to plan.
And then, so he sends like Zero, a man with guns, to kill this guy, which is stupid. And then we get that terrible cool guys don't look at explosions.
Yeah, that is dodgy. That's the famous one, I think.
Yeah, that's the one where...
That one and the Iron Man one are the ones I see most often.
Well, the Iron Man one is cool, though.
Yeah, the Iron Man one is better, but you still see both of them a lot.
But the Iron Man one makes sense because it's Tony Stark.
It was kind of like parodying stuff like this, even though, wait, it's crazy to me that this movie came out after Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man and like The Dark Knight kind of seem like a dawn of a new superhero movie era.
They're still stinkers.
Wow. I didn't think there's been a single bad superhero movie released since Iron Man.
You're joking, right?
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, I swear.
It's not like we
just
talked about Suicide
Fantastic.
Squad and how much I don't like it a month or two ago.
There's a couple other things. Blob.
Yeah, I've got that. Did
That
you
was
just
weird.
call me the Blob?
Did you call me Blob?
It's also just the fact that like he doesn't like he's just a big fat guy, and like they never go, oh yeah, this is superpower stuff. They're like, no, he ate a lot of food and now he looks like this.
Yeah, because he had like a whole point, like the Blob's powers is his weight.
Yeah, but like they don't say that. Like Logan knew the Blob before he was fat, and then it doesn't like Will.i.am say something like, hey y'all, I'm Will.i.am. I'm a judge on The Voice UK, and
he really?
Yeah,
that's so weird.
For years now. Yeah, the years. Is The Voice UK the original one? I was thinking about this while watching this because I knew that we'd be talking about The Voice.
If it's The Voice UK and we have The Voice.
No, we call it The Voice. Oh. So it started on the 24th of March, 2012, and the USA one started, a year before. Yeah, you win this round. It's rare though, isn't it, for you to win on this TV stuff? Yeah, Will.i.am has been doing it since 2012, I'm pretty sure.
Is he British?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Let me read. Oh, no, he's American.
Why is he on the UK?
I thought Black Eyed Peas were British, the band he was in.
No, Black Eyed Peas are not British. They're an American band.
I honestly, the amount I know about Will.i.am isn't a lot.
Well, I don't know why he was in this movie. He was almost like he's probably like Bud's the director or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, apparently he's in The Voice Australia as well.
Man, he's busy.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I kind of like him in this movie though.
Yeah, but it's like I'm just distracted the entire time.
Yeah, you're like, Will.i.am.
Aren't you supposed to be talking about Amabees?
He's the weirdest guy in the world though.
Is he really? I don't know much about him.
No, this is just off what I've seen him in The Voice.
Oh.
He just does weird things and is like, he just says the craziest stuff and you're like, okay, Will.i.am.
Wait, what does he say?
I mean, I can't even think of any examples now. It's just like, no, can't think of any examples.
What else? What other things are on your bad list?
I don't like a lot of like the drama between Sabretooth and Wolverine. Because I feel like it feels pretty forced because they're like, it literally shows them being besties for hundreds of years and fighting in all these wars together. And then there's just one scene where Wolverine's like, hey, don't do that. And then Sabretooth's like, hey, he's like, Wolverine's like, I'm leaving. And Sabretooth is like, oh, well, if you leave, then I'll never talk to you ever again. And then from that point onwards, Sabretooth is like, oh, I'm going to kill him, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. He loves his brother. But then all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to kill him.
So they've literally been out hanging out for hundreds of years. Have they not had disagreements like this before?
It goes over that so much. And by the time like they become friends again at the end, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. It's also weird when you think about the other X. I know I'm talking about X-Men continuity here, which is always a trap. It's always
Yes.
something you shouldn't do. But then it's also weird when you look back at X-Men 1 and Sabretooth is all just trying to kill him, and Sabretooth's kind of like, hey, by the way, we fought in the Civil War together.
And we're brothers.
Yeah. Like he always seems like an idiot, but like I don't like care how stupid you are. You're going to be a pretty smart fella if you've been alive for 300 so years.
Yeah.
And just like not age and everything like that.
And I think another part of continuity, I think Fox is trying to mess with us because I think out of how many strikers have we gotten?
3, I think. You have the one in who's in X2.
Then you got the one
in this one,
and
then you have Days of Future Past, who's Peter Dinklage. Oh no, isn't he a black guy?
No, it's Stryker is just like this regular white dude who's taken over by Mystique.
Yeah, he's Peter Dinklage, who's the guy from Game of Thrones, who's the midget.
No. That's not.
Oh,
Stryker.
is that not? Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's the Oh yeah, yeah. I googled it. He's the army soldier, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry. That.
I go. No.
Oh no, the black. No, who I was thinking of. The guy who I was thinking of is also in he's the scientist guy who designed it, and he's in X2, and he's also in Days of Future Past. The guy who designed the Sentinels, and then in Days of Future Past he's the midget, and then in X2 he's the black guy.
Man,
but no, you're right.
They literally have like no urge to even try to maintain continuity.
But the most interesting part for me is that this movie is set 2 years after Days of Future Past. And in
2 days?
Pardon?
Would you say 2 days or 2 years?
2 years.
Oh.
The Days of Future Past. And in Days of Future Past, you have James McAvoy. And then in this, you have Patrick Stewart.
Bald.
Yeah. And also, we're not getting into this because then X-Men Apocalypse takes place after this movie in the 80s.
And then you also have...
And that's also... So he goes from... He goes from James McAvoy to Patrick Stewart to James McAvoy.
To be fair, after X-Men Days of Future Past, that's a different timeline.
Yeah, but still, I don't get how a different timeline would make him age a lot less.
You never know.
Have you seen the memes of how Days of Future Past and X-Men Dark Phoenix are set 30 years apart, but all the characters look exactly the same?
Why did they do that? I'll never understand that.
I just don't. We can't fall down the rabbit hole of X-Men continuity.
Okay, let's go back to the bad parts of X-Men Origins.
Okay, so we were talking about Saber-Tooth just then.
Yes.
I think it's just weird pacing overall how it gets to him being all like in the experiment, and suddenly like basically so they kill his wife, and then he's like, hey, I can make you stronger than ever, and he's like, yeah, okay, and it literally seems like 30 seconds later he's somewhere else just lying on a table about it. It just felt like a bit of a weird cut to me.
Okay, I'm glad you said this because I watched this on Peacock, and there was a commercial right before that cut.
Oh, okay.
And I legitimately thought it just like skipped over like 10 minutes.
No.
So yeah, it is super weird because I legitimately thought I missed a part of the movie.
So yeah, we kind of are losing out here, but I think the real losers are people who have adverts on their streaming services.
Well, it's because I don't pay for it.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how this stuff works. We don't have Peacock. X-Men Origins is on Disney Plus.
It's not on Disney Plus. I thought it was.
It is in the UK.
But I could have probably just like VPN'd it. But
I've got it on DVD anyway, so I'm cool.
Out.
Anyway, should we actually talk about the wife twist? Because we talk about how like the actual setup for the wife is bad. But
yes.
What do you think of the twist when she's like, I'm alive all along and my sister is Emma Frost?
Whatever, man. It was kind of cool seeing how like she used her powers in the beginning when like we didn't know.
Yeah.
But like
It's still a bit. I don't like the bit of her in the end when she's like, "No, I've got to go and save Logan because I actually did love him this entire time."
I mean, at that point, I feel like my brain flatlined, and I was just like, "This is what's happening."
Is it because you had just seen Deadpool? After that, you just do not function.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, the worst ending to any comic book movie ever? Can you think of a worse one?
Fan four stick.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have to say, fan four stick is worse than this.
It's an interesting take. So this is very off topic. I was thinking about the biggest differences between like live action performances for the same comic book character. Because in my mind, I was like, I think it's going to be the Vigilante. Because if you don't know, the Vigilante is going to be in Peacemaker, and he's in the trailer. He's the one in like the greenish black suit.
Yeah.
And he's gonna and in this they're like, oh, he's the really silly character. James Gunn was like, yeah, he's the weirdest one in the team, and then he's also a villain on a series. He's also like a villain on Arrow, and I was like, that's a pretty stark. And he's all serious guy, and he's all like, bam, 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 killing everyone.
Oh.
This is a pretty big stark difference between the same character and different things. And then I was like, Deadpool.
Deadpool. He's bad. Like there's so many things you can go. Like he can teleport in the comics.
Yeah, but it's just they didn't really do anything interesting with the powers. They kind of like, hey, I can teleport, hey, I can shoot lasers, and then Sabretooth and Wolverine. I'm like, yeah, let's just beat this guy up.
Just cut his head off.
Yeah.
Not
good. Not okay. Here's the question: do you prefer Doctor Doom in Fantastic or the mouth sewn shut Deadpool?
But I mean, Doctor Doom was terrible the entire time.
That's true.
But Deadpool was at least good.
I'm talking about just beginning. Like the end threat, though.
Oh no! Oh no!
I think it's Deadpool, in my opinion.
I'm tied, but I'm gonna go with you with that. Yeah, let's go Deadpool.
Because Doom did like said things which were like
he was doing things.
What did he do? He goes, no victor, only doom. But then Deadpool kind of just stands there, gets his swords out, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to teleport up here after you. Also, it was a really dumb bit where like Deadpool is like right there, and Wolverine's like, instead of fighting this guy, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend like a good 10 minutes climbing to the top of this nuclear, what are they called? Like the nuclear power plant. I just think of The Simpsons. And he spent ages, must have hurt, just stabbing in, climbing to the top. And he gets out and he stands there and he's like, haha, like, you can't fight me now. But like, what did he think was going to happen if he didn't know Deadpool could teleport? Because if I was Deadpool, I'd have just turned around, chased after fake wife and killed all the kids. And then Wolverine would be standing there like, oh, wait, give me a second. I need to climb back down. But instead, Deadpool just stands there and teleports up there. And Wolverine is like, oh, okay, this is a thing.
But like, he knew he teleported. Deadpool had teleported on him when they were fighting on the ground.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Knew. That's true. That's a good point. So I don't get what his plan was. Was he like... He was like, let's get up here, and so it's more difficult to fight this guy because he might teleport up here and nearly push me off the edge. and then like that fight would have been over so much quicker because you got to think. So Deadpool teleports to the top. The moment Deadpool teleports to the top, Sabretooth must have been like running up to him down the bottom, and then he teleports and Sabretooth's like, I need to climb up here now, and he's only got like little claws. He would have struggled.
Well, he does have that silly little run.
That's true. I forgot about the silly little run. I don't know how that would work vertically up. It was just a dumb idea. The writers were like, and now they fight on top of the huge power plant. How do we get them to do this? They just have Wolverine climb it. No reason. It's like it's just a funny moment for me because he goes to his fake wife. He's like, yeah, don't worry, I've got this. You go. He goes. He fights Deadpool for like 10 seconds. He's like, no, I'm just gonna climb this thing.
That's a silly little run. I wish we could have seen Wolverine running to the power plant, being like,
just running away.
Something I have now that we're on the island.
Okay.
So Gambit drops him off in the ocean,
yeah,
right?
He jumps out the plane.
Yeah, and when he comes back, he is bone dry.
Yeah,
he is not wet at all.
You probably did a card trick on the ocean or something.
That's just something I saw, and I was like, "That's stupid."
Yeah.
And I wrote it down. It was stupid enough for me to be like, "I'm ready."
And it's also like, why is he like? It's such the stereotypical thing of going, "No, I'm not going to join the fight." Joins the fight just when he's needed. And the thing is, if that thing fell on Wolverine, he would have been fine.
Yeah, Wolverine would have been. He would have been a little squished.
Like Gambit contributed nothing to this situation. What happened was Gambit showed up, just stood there and was like, hey, after Wolverine gets shot in the head, he's like, hey, what are we doing now? And Wolverine's like, I'm going to go on my own. And Gambit's like, okay, bye. I literally got here 10 seconds ago, but it is time for me to leave again.
I wish you could have got more of Gambit because he's kind of cool.
Well, what if I told you this would actually be a very good unreleased? If you can't find enough stuff about X-Men Origins, do the Gambit movie that has had literally 8 directors or something crazy like that.
Poor Channing Tatum, man.
Yeah,
Tatum.
That would be an interesting one because it's just so many different actors, and then like literally like every 6 months there'd be news about this movie for a solid 10 years.
I'm definitely gonna do Gambit. Maybe tomorrow I'll do Gambit.
Maybe wait until this comes out and then you can be all like,
oh, genius. Yeah, I'll wait for next Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Any other bad things? So many. Just dialogue in general.
Dialogue, acting.
I didn't like the bit where fake wife was all like, hey, do you want to hear a story about some dumb thing to do with a Wolverine or whatever? And then I'm like, no, shut up. And then while she's doing it, just so the audience doesn't get too bored, she has to very sexily sit on Wolverine's lap as well.
Okay. So I think we got the bad and we got the
good. So I think we went on a bit too long there, but we can improve this now. And I now realize I don't know how to.
So I think the first step is to take what we have for the movie and we scrap it all.
Scrap it all.
We scrap it all besides
the opening.
Besides the war, which is what we want. Everybody wanted this movie to be. So why don't we make that the movie? And maybe it could end with him becoming Weapon X. Yeah. Like, if the movie can end with, like, you know, when they found him. No. Maybe the movie can end. Okay. I have an idea. So, the movie can go along with them fighting over the war. And as the war goes on, Wolverine gets like this sense of like a moral agenda. Like, he doesn't want to kill innocent people.
Yeah.
And that could be like a breeding tension in between him and Sabretooth. And then Wolverine leaves the war, finds somebody he loves, and then Sabretooth kills her.
Is she going to be really generic?
No.
Oh, interesting approach here.
I know. A little
Do you think the writers asked this in the writing room for X-Men Origins, and they were like, okay, he's gonna have a wife, and then someone goes, she's gonna be really generic. Yeah.
I like the way you think. And then basically like Sabretooth maybe kills the wife, And that's what makes Wolverine want to get Weapon X.
Yeah, he wants to be all Weapon X'd up in this place. What if earlier on in the movie during the war, Stryker tries to kill Wolverine and Sabretooth or capture them with his group of mutants? And then they manage to escape, but later on in the movie, Wolverine goes and seeks him out, and Stryker's all like, well, look what the cat dragged in. And Wolverine's like, make me powerful.
And that could be like the third act would be Wolverine with the adamantium against Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but why does Sabretooth kill wife?
Because he's mad at Logan for leaving him.
Because he's jealous.
Yes.
But
how about, to make it make sense, we don't make them brothers?
Yeah, and they're just good. But then how do they both just live forever and hang out?
Well, Wolverine could be in the war and he could just find Sabretooth.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, we can make it that. We can make it so that they just find each other. Because they're both unkillable, so they would make sense.
They find each other during the Civil War, and they're like, whoa. Who's this? and then Sabretooth can do the whole spiel of being like, oh, you can't marry her. She's nothing like us. We live forever. Blah, blah, blah.
We're going to die.
But what if, so the whole thing is the memory wipe thing. How do you get to that point? And my question is, what if the movie ends with both of them somehow getting their memory wiped? And then it would make a little more sense. And number one, I feel like it's a bit of a weird ending for a movie for Wolverine to lose in this way, because he kind of does lose, and it's never fully addressed. And I feel like that's an issue this movie has.
Because in the first X-Men movie, Wolverine doesn't really know who he is, right?
Yeah, and that I understand you need to get to the point where he has no memory, but they kind of did it in a way when and Wolverine saved the day and then he loses, he lost. And I feel that's a bit of a weird ending. So you could do a more satisfying ending by him and Saber, he's like, Sabretooth's all like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, everyone you know, and blah blah blah. And then Wolverine's like, no, I'm gonna wipe your memory. But he does it to both of them at the same time, and that's how he. Just for the stereotype of obviously isn't how they do it. There's the vat of wiping memory juice, for example. Obviously, it's not going to be this. And Sabretooth is all like, hey, you can't wipe my memory. You can't push me in there. And Wolverine does the grab and they both jump in together.
Oh, yeah, that's the move.
That's the metaphor, but not memory wiping juice.
Yeah. So I think if we do have a way where the Wolverine is able to sacrifice himself,
yeah,
that could be interesting.
Yeah, well, he sacrificed himself to get rid of Sabretooth at the same time, and then it turns out that he didn't die and he just wiped his memory.
Yeah. Okay. So it opens up with just Wolverine in the war. We don't need a story about his childhood and how we killed.
Yeah, but what even was that?
It was unnecessary.
Whole thing of him killing his dad and then his dad being like, hey, I'm not your dad. And why did they have to do the thing about him being ill? What was he ill with? What was going on there?
Well, maybe the mutant gene activating?
Maybe. But he's got healing factors, so maybe that's the only time in his life he's ever been ill.
So, movie opens with Wolverine in the Civil War. And then finds Sabretooth on the battlefield, right?
Yes.
Doing his little silly run.
Silly run. Oh, I'd love to see more silly runs across no man's land of him going.
Yes. That'd be epic. Back to back. So movie silly run, and then this basically the first act is them fighting and being best of friends.
Yeah.
And then And then for the second act, Sabretooth starts killing innocent people.
Yeah.
And then that's when Stryker and his team start to try to assassinate them.
Yeah.
So we get some of that Wade Wilson action. We get some of that Blob action. If we still want Blob in this movie, do we still want Blob?
I think that's pretty fun. To actually say he's a mutant this time instead of being like, hey, this guy's just you know, whatever. He ate a lot of food.
Second act is Blob and Will.i.am special. And then kills everybody, and then Wolverine's like, you know what, I'm out of here.
Yeah, but before that, you need the bit of like Stryker's team coming after them.
Right. It's like, how do you make it so that like he's able to develop a relationship?
I think you can kind of do what they did here and do a time jump.
Okay, so we do a time jump.
Yeah.
In the middle of the second act.
Yeah, like at the midway point, you can kind of be like, time jump.
Okay, so time jump to him in the woods as a lumberjack.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no Stryker plan. It's just Sabretooth kills the one he loves. And then Wolverine goes to Stryker and he's like, I want metal. And then Stryker is like, here's metal.
And maybe I'll wipe your memory. And Wolverine's like, yeah.
I like it. So then he gets the adamantium, goes to kill Sabretooth. And Stryker tells him like the only way you can kill him is by doing. Are we going with like the acid route?
Maybe just say adamantium bullet could still work, I think.
So like maybe
if you shoot anyone with an adamantium bullet in their head, their memory would be wiped.
So like maybe like Stryker says the only way you can kill him is by like shooting him in the face with the adamantium bullet.
Or what if Wolverine, he's like, oh yeah, you can just cut his head off and he'll be dead. And then later on, like Stryker realizes that Wolverine is now too powerful, and he goes, hey, Saber-Tooth, if you want to kill your mate Wolverine, shoot him in the face with an adamantium bullet. And he gets the gun, he's about to shoot it, and Wolverine's like, no, or does something, I don't know, something like that. Sorry, I had an idea at the start, and then by the time I finished the sentence, I'd lost it.
So like they're both trying to kill each other. That's the plan Stryker set up, so they both can kill each other.
Yeah.
And then Wolverine. How about like does like Sabretooth like shoot him at the same time Wolverine cuts off his head?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that works. Or just stabs him in the head, I think.
Yeah. So and they're both dead.
Or like he gets shot in the head and Wolverine stumbles forwards and just stabs him in the head.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And then Wolverine just kind of memory wiped gets going. And also in this movie, Sabretooth, he's gonna kind of look like the X-Men one from X-Men 2000.
Yeah.
Because do you remember what Sabretooth looked like in that movie?
I do. He was a bit more of a rugged, like actual like animal guy.
Yeah. It looks weird. But yeah, completely different.
Connected that.
Yeah, maybe they just make him blonde in this movie. Maybe that's the move.
Perhaps. Maybe that's why this movie is bad. Maybe the entire time we're looking at Sabretooth and we're like, what's up with this?
The jacket was pretty sick, though.
Yeah, I preferred Wolverine's jacket, personally.
Well, I'm saying I prefer Sabretooth's jacket over the one in this actual movie.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So basically how we improved this movie, we just made it a completely different one.
Yeah. I mean, we've done that in the past, haven't we? With Holmes and Watson. And
how do we improve Holmes and Watson again?
We changed the cast and the plot.
Oh. Well, yeah, because that's the only way we could fix it.
Yeah, we didn't change the plot massively. Oh no, we did. I think I don't actually remember. And I think we changed Fan Four Stick a lot.
Fan Forsic, I think Fan Forsic we made that into a good movie.
And we did He's All That into a complete
movie. We did He's All That.
And we did completely recast and then change that movie's plot as well. This one isn't changing that much when we're keeping the entirety of the same cast.
Yeah, because the cast, like Liev Schreiber, Hugh Jackman, very talented cast, more than capable of making a good movie.
Yeah.
But it just fell apart.
Good job, them.
No, they will do a good job, but they are bad job.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I think that about does it for today.
Yes.
So the two questions I sometimes ask at the end when I remember is, what would you give X-Men Origins out of 10?
2 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd agree. 2 out of 10. And what would you give our rewrite?
What would I give our rewrite? I would give it a 7 out of 10.
I was going to say 7 as well. We agree on both. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Look at us.
We can be friends. We've been so nice to each other this entire episode.
You know why we have been nice to each other?
Why?
Well, you know why.
It's because I got it all out at the start.
No, I had pizza today.
Ah.
And when you eat pizza, it's a pizza pie. It's a mighty good time. Mamma mia. You just feel good.
Yeah, the actual real reason. Here's a peek behind the curtains for you guys. When Harlan joined the call, he said, "Oh, I can't hear you because I don't have my earphones in." And then he spent like 30 seconds going around the room, and the entire time I was just insulting him down my microphone. I think getting it all out then is just, I'm in a better mood now.
Well, I'm glad you're happy, Dave.
I'm glad when you're happy too, because I appreciate you. You're a good friend.
Stop. Okay, can we please end this so I can stop talking to you?
Anyway, adios, guys.
No!
See you next week.
Adios, everybody.
Bye.